The little thief rain fell hard on the metal streets of Neo-Asha City. The night lights blinked like broken stars. A small figure moved through the shadows, her heart racing fast. Her name was Lena, a 10-year-old girl with dark hair and tired eyes. She ran barefoot, holding something close to her chest, a small silver box that glowed faint blue. Behind her, alarm sirens screamed through the quiet night. "Security breach in Sector 9, a robotic voice echoed across the buildings. Lena didn't look back. She couldn't. If she stopped, they would catch her, if they caught her. Her mother would die. She turned into a narrow alley, slipping on wet ground. The glow from the box shined through her small fingers. It was the last hope for her mother, the medicine, the forbidden cure. People said it was fake. People said it was poison. But Lena didn't care. Her mom was dying, and she would do anything. She hid behind a dumpster as drones passed above. Their red lights searched every corner, scanning for heat. Lena pressed her hand over her mouth to keep quiet. She felt her heart beating so loud she thought they might hear it. The drones hovered for a moment, then flew away. She let out a shaky breath, whispering, "Please, not now. Please." Her small hands were cold, her legs hurt, but she kept moving. She ran through broken streets, past flickering signs and rusted cars. The city was dying. Like her mother, people lived under gray skies, afraid of the laws made by the powerful biosec division. Medicine was not for everyone, only for those who could pay, and Lena's family had nothing left to give. When she finally reached home, her clothes were soaked. Their small metal house was dark and quiet. She pushed open the door, whispering, "Mom, it's me." Inside, her mother lay on an old bed, her breathing weak and slow. Mara's skin looked pale like paper, her lips dry. Lena ran to her side and opened the box. Inside was a small glass vial, glowing blue like a tiny star. She held it up with shaking hands. "I got it, Mom." "I got the medicine." Her mother opened her eyes slowly. "Lena." "What did you do?" Tears ran down Lena's face. "I stole it. I'm sorry, Mom. I swear I'll never do it again." "But I did it for you," she whispered. Voice trembling, Mara looked at her little girl, fear and love mixing in her weak smile. "You shouldn't have." "They'll come for you," she said softly. But Lena had already uncapped the vial. She poured the glowing liquid into her mother's mouth. Mara tried to speak, but her body started to shake. Blue light spread under her skin, bright and strange. Her eyes opened wide. Glowing like two blue suns, Lena screamed, "Mom! What's happening?" For a long second, everything froze. The wind outside stopped, the rain paused. The lights flickered. Then suddenly, her mother took a deep breath. Her chest moved, strong and full of air. The blue light faded slowly, leaving her breathing normally. Mara looked at her hands, then at Lena. I feel alive," she said, her voice filled with wonder. Lena laughed and cried at the same time, hugging her tight. "You're okay, Mom. You're okay." Outside, a drone light passed by the window. "Scanning," a robotic voice whispered. "Target detected." Lena froze, holding her mother's hand tight. Mara's glowing eyes turned toward the sound. She whispered, "They found us." The sirens began again, louder this time. Lena looked at the empty vial, still glowing faintly. Her lips trembled as she whispered to herself, "I swear I'll never do it again." "I did it for my mom." The miracle. The night had not ended, but everything felt different. The rain outside had stopped, as if the city was holding its breath. Inside the small metal house, silence filled the air. Lena sat beside her mother, staring at her glowing skin, afraid to move. Mara opened her eyes slowly, the soft blue light fading from them. Her breathing was calm, her face no longer pale. For the first time in months, she looked alive. Lena's small hands shook as she whispered, "Mom, can you hear me?" Mara blinked, confused, then smiled. "Lena, I'm here." Tears rolled down Lena's face. She hugged her mother tightly. She could feel warmth, real warmth, like life had come back. Her mother's heart was beating fast but strong. The medicine had worked. It was a miracle. But deep inside, something felt strange. Something was not right. Outside, the city lights flickered again. A tall tower miles away came alive with red alarms. Inside that tower, a man in a white coat watched a hologram screen. It showed Lena's neighborhood, her house glowing blue on the map. He spoke softly into his headset. The subject survived. Track the source. Back in the small house, Mara stood up slowly. Her legs didn't feel weak anymore. Her pain was gone, but when she touched the wall, The metal bent slightly under her fingers. She looked at her hand in shock. Lena, what's happening to me? Lena shook her head. It's okay, Mom, it's just the medicine. Mara moved to the mirror and gasped. Her eyes reflected tiny blue lines moving under her skin like rivers of light. Her heartbeat sounded like a low vibration. She could hear distant sounds, machines, whispers, even the city itself. It was as if her body was part of something bigger now, and that scared her more than death ever did. Suddenly, the power in their home flickered. Lena looked outside the cracked window. Drones hovered above the rooftops, scanning with red beams. Biosec had found them just like Mara feared. Mara turned quickly. Lena, hide the box. Lena grabbed the silver container and pushed it under a loose floor tile. Her heart raced again, just like last night. A loud bang shook the door. A metal voice shouted, "Open up, citizens of Neo-Asha, this is Biosec enforcement." Mara froze. Her eyes glowing faintly in the dark, Lena whispered, "Mom, what do we do?" Mara looked at her daughter and took a deep breath. She didn't know what she had become, but she knew she had to protect her child. "Go to the back window, crawl out, and don't look back," she said. Lena shook her head. "No, I won't leave you." Mara smiled weakly. "You have to. I'll be right behind you." The door cracked open as a steel boot kicked it down. Red lights flooded the room. Shadows of armored men filled the doorway. Mara raised her hand, shouting, "Bo, stay back!" But her hand glowed blue again. And suddenly a wave of energy burst out. The soldiers flew backward. Crashing into the walls, Lena screamed, "Mom!" Mara looked at her own hands, glowing brighter now. She didn't understand the power, but it was inside her, wild and alive. The house began to shake, the lights exploded, and the drones outside fell from the sky. Mara grabbed Lena's arm, pulling her through the smoke. They ran into the dark streets, the city alarms ringing again. The air smelled like ozone and burning metal. Lena clutched her mother's hand tightly, afraid to let go. When they reached the edge of the sector, they stopped. Mara looked up at the night sky. Full of neon lights and drones searching above, she whispered, "We can't go home anymore." Lena's voice broke. "Then where will we go?" Her mother looked down at her, her eyes soft but glowing again. "To the only place they can't find us," she said. Lena nodded, even though she didn't understand. As they disappeared into the shadows, the tower light turned red. The man watching the hologram smiled coldly. He whispered, "The cure works, but it's unstable." And far away under the storm clouds, the city began to wake up. The miracle had started something that could never be stopped. The city of Neo-Asha woke under a blood-red dawn. The storm had passed, but the fear had not. Biosec patrol ships hovered across the sky, their searchlights cutting through the gray clouds, every screen, every radio. Every drone repeated the same order: locate the stolen vial, and the girl who took it. Lena and her mother moved through the underground tunnels beneath the old sectors. Their footsteps echoed softly on the damp floor. The air smelled of metal and smoke. Mara kept her hood low, her skin still glowing faintly under the cloth. Every few seconds she would stop. Listening to the sounds above, she could hear voices, drones, and even the pulse of electricity through the walls. Her new senses were growing stronger, and it frightened her. "Mom, are you okay?" Lena whispered. Mara nodded, but her eyes looked distant. "I can hear them, Lena." "They're close," she said quietly. Lena held her hand tighter. "We'll hide. They won't find us," but Biosec had already locked onto their trail. A group of black armored soldiers moved through the upper streets, each one guided by drones scanning for heat and DNA traces. The leader, a man named Commander Voss, studied a hologram of the tunnel map. "The child's signal is weak but steady," he said. "She's with the infected subject, deep below." Lena and Mara found an old service station. The walls were cracked, wires hung loose like vines. Lena sat down, exhausted. "We can rest here." Mara nodded and looked at her hands again. Blue sparks danced over her skin, fading in and out. "I don't understand this," she said softly. "The cure wasn't meant for me. Maybe it wasn't meant for anyone." Lena frowned. "But it saved you." Mara smiled weakly. "Maybe it saved me, or maybe it changed me." Her eyes glowed faintly in the darkness. "I can feel something inside me, like a voice whispering." Lena looked scared. "A voice?" Mara touched her head. "It's not mine, it feels alive." Above them, the sound of metal boots echoed. The soldiers had reached the entrance of the tunnel. Their scanners beeped, picking up faint traces of energy. Target confirmed, moving in, said Voss. They entered the tunnels with blinding lights and silent guns. The hunt had begun. Mara felt it before she heard it. Her pulse quickened, her senses screamed danger. Lena, we have to move now, she whispered. They ran through the narrow tunnel, water splashing around their feet. A red laser cut through the dark ahead. Biosec was blocking the path. Mara pulled Lena behind her, heart pounding. Voss raised his weapon, his voice calm through the helmet. Subject 47, surrender. The child will be unharmed. Mara stepped forward, her glowing eyes sharp. I'm not your subject, she said. Her voice trembling. Voss smirked. You were never free. You were part of the project before you even knew it. He pressed a button and the tunnel lights flashed red. Dozens of drones swarmed in, humming like angry bees. Lena hid behind a metal pillar, crying softly. Mara felt the strange power rise again inside her chest. Her hands glowed brighter than ever, the light spreading through her veins. She shouted, "Stay away from my daughter!" A pulse of blue energy exploded from her body. The shock wave threw the soldiers backward. Slamming them into the tunnel walls, sparks flew, water steamed, and the air filled with the smell of burning circuits. When the light faded, Mara collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. Her skin flickered between human and metallic. Lena ran to her, tears in her eyes. Mom, please wake up. Mara looked up weakly, her voice breaking. Lena, I can't control it. The ground shook again as more drones flew into the tunnel. Voss stood up, his armor cracked but his eyes burning with anger. He shouted, "Don't let them escape!" Mara stood barely steady. She lifted Lena into her arms, running deeper into the darkness behind them. The tunnel exploded as biosec forces fired. Flames and debris followed them like a storm. Lena looked over her mother's shoulder, her eyes wide. "Mom, where are we going?" she cried. Mara whispered. "To find someone who can help us, far away beyond the city's edge." A shadow watched them through a holographic screen. A man with a scar across his face smiled faintly. He whispered to himself, "So the girl survived. Maybe there's still hope." The hunt wasn't over. It had only just begun. The stranger, the tunnels were endless, cold and wet. Lena's small feet splashed through puddles as her mother carried her deeper underground. The air grew thicker, heavy with the smell of rust and old machines. Behind them, the echoes of explosions faded slowly. But Lena knew the soldiers were still searching. Always searching, Mara's arms trembled as she ran, her strength fading fast. The blue glow under her skin pulsed weakly like a dying light. "Mom, you need to rest," Lena whispered. Mara shook her head. "Not yet, they'll find us." Her voice sounded tired, almost metallic. She was changing more every hour, and she could feel it. They turned a corner and stopped suddenly. In front of them stood a tall figure wearing a dark coat and a half-broken mask. His face was hidden, but his voice was calm. "You shouldn't be down here," he said. Mara stepped back, ready to protect Lena. "Who are you?" she demanded. The man raised his hand slowly, showing he meant no harm. "My name is Ryan," he said, "and I've been looking for you." Lena's heart skipped a beat. "How do you know us?" she asked. Ryan pointed at Mara. "Because I built the cure you stole." Mara's eyes widened, the blue glow in her veins flickering stronger. "You're lying," she said. "The cure was banned years ago," Ryan nodded. "Yes, after they turned it into a weapon." The silence between them felt heavy. Ryan stepped closer, his boots echoing softly on the metal floor. He looked at Mara carefully. "You shouldn't be alive. Not after one full dose." Mara looked away. "But I am," Ryan sighed. "Then the mutation has begun?" Lena frowned, not understanding. "Mutation?" Ryan knelt down to her level, his voice softer now. "The medicine was meant to heal the body completely," he said. "But Biosec changed it. They added nanotech, machines too small to see." He looked at Mara again. "Those machines are rebuilding you from the inside. Soon, you won't be human anymore." Mara clenched her fists. Shaking her head, "I didn't ask for this," she said, her voice breaking. "I just wanted to save my daughter." Ryan nodded slowly. "I know. That's why I'm going to help you." Lena looked up hopefully. "You can fix her?" Ryan didn't answer right away. He opened a small device that projected a glowing map of the tunnels. "Biosec controls everything above ground," he said. "But there's one place they don't dare go. The dead zone." He pointed to a dark area on the map. "If we reach it, I can hide you." Mara stared at him. unsure if she could trust him. "Why are you helping us?" she asked. Rian's eyes softened behind his mask. "Because I was part of the project that destroyed families like yours. I thought I was saving lives. But I created something that kills. I can't undo the past, but I can protect what's left." Before Mara could answer, a deep rumble shook the tunnel. Lena gasped as dust fell from the ceiling. Ryan turned sharply, scanning the shadows. "They found us," he said, pulling a small pulse weapon from his belt. Mara's eyes glowed again, her body reacting to the danger. Blue light spread across her veins like fire. "I'll hold them," she said firmly. Rian shook his head. "No. You can't control it yet, but it was too late." Drones burst into the tunnel, red lights flashing. Ryan fired. The air filled with energy bolts and sparks. Mara raised her hand, sending a wave of blue force down the passage. The drones exploded one by one, crashing into the walls. The tunnel filled with smoke and light. Lena screamed, covering her ears as the ground shook. When the noise stopped, everything was quiet again. Mara fell to her knees, her body trembling. Her skin flickered between human and metal. Ryan ran to her side, checking her pulse. "She's changing faster than I thought," he muttered. Lena cried, "Do something." "Help her!" Rian looked at her sadly. "I'll try." As the tunnel lights flickered, Rian lifted Mara in his arms. He turned to Lena. "Stay close to me, no matter what." Lena nodded, wiping her tears. Together they disappeared into the deep darkness of the tunnel. Behind them, a broken drone's red eye blinked once, and a voice crackled through static. "Target located. Continuing pursuit." The hunt wasn't over, it had just found its next chapter. The transformation. The tunnels grew darker as they went deeper. Only the sound of dripping water and soft footsteps filled the silence. Lena walked beside Rian, holding his coat tightly. Behind them, Mara was barely standing, her breathing uneven. The faint blue light under her skin flickered like a dying star. Rian stopped near a large steel door covered with old warning signs. "This way," he said, tapping a code into the rusted panel. The door creaked open, revealing a hidden lab. It was small but full of machines, glowing tubes and old computer screens. Lena looked around, amazed. "You live here?" Rian nodded. "It's not home, but it's safe." He helped Mara sit on a metal bed. Her hands trembled, her skin changing again. Silver patterns crawling up her arms. Lena ran to her, crying softly, "Mom, please." "Say something." Mara smiled weakly. "I'm here, baby." But her voice sounded different, deeper, echoing slightly like a machine. Rian quickly opened a scanner and moved it over Mara's body. The screen showed strange shapes moving inside her bloodstream. "Nanotech activity is off the charts," he said, frowning. "She's merging faster than I expected." Lena wiped her tears. "You can stop it, right?" Ryan hesitated. "I can slow it down, maybe." He pulled out a small injector filled with silver liquid. "This might help," he said, "but it will hurt." Mara looked at the injector and nodded. "Do it," she whispered. Ryan pressed it into her neck. For a second, nothing happened. Then her body arched, glowing brighter than before. The machines in the lab beeped wildly. Lena screamed, "Stop! You're hurting her." Ryan grabbed her shoulders. "It's the only way." The light spread through the room like lightning. Mara's eyes opened, glowing bright blue. Her voice became a mix of human and machine. "I see everything," she whispered. She looked at the walls, her vision scanning through metal and wires. She could see the city above, the soldiers moving. The drones in the air, every signal, every code, it was all inside her mind. Her body was no longer human, it was a living network. Ryan stepped back, terrified. "She's connecting to the system," he said. "If she doesn't stop, Biosec will trace her instantly." Mara turned toward him slowly, her eyes blank. "They already have," she said in a robotic tone. Lena shook her head. "Mom, it's me." "Please stop." For a moment, Mara blinked, her human side fighting back. "Lena, I can't. It's too strong," she whispered. Suddenly, alarms echoed through the lab. A red light flashed on the wall. Ryan looked at the screen. Biosec drones had surrounded the tunnel entrance. "They're here," he said, pulling out his weapon. He looked at Mara. "Can you fight?" Mara stood up slowly, her feet barely touching the ground. "I don't need to fight," she said coldly. Her voice carried both pain and power. The walls around them began to vibrate. Wires tore from the ceiling. Electricity crackled through the air. Lena covered her ears as the sound grew louder. Mara lifted her hands, her eyes shining like two suns. I'll protect her, she said. Blue energy exploded outward, shaking the lab. The drones outside were destroyed instantly, but the blast also collapsed the tunnel, cutting off their escape. Rion shielded Lena from falling debris. Mara, stop! You're destroying everything, he shouted, but Mara didn't answer. The light around her grew blinding. Her body becoming half metal, half human, her voice echoed. The cure must spread. Then suddenly, the light vanished. Mara fell to the floor, silent and still. Lena ran to her, shaking her arm, crying, Mom, wake up. Ryan checked her pulse, but she wasn't breathing. She's in stasis, he said quietly. The nanotech shut her down before she lost control. Lena hugged her mother's body, tears falling on the metal floor. Rian placed a hand on her shoulder. We'll bring her back. I promise, above them, in the city towers. Commander Voss watched the energy readings spike. He smiled coldly. We found them, he said. Prepare the extraction unit, far below. Lena looked up through the cracks in the ceiling. She whispered, they'll never take her. And beside her, the faint blue light in Mara's chest began to glow again. The experiment. The air in the tunnel was filled with dust and silence. Rion stood beside Lena, staring at Mara's still body on the cold metal floor. The blue light in her chest glowed faintly like a heartbeat trapped inside glass. Lena knelt beside her mother, whispering, please wake up. Her voice cracked. Her small hand shaking, but Mara didn't move. Ryan turned to his console, his fingers flying across the old keys. She's not dead, he said. The nanotech inside her has entered a safe mode. It's keeping her alive, but also keeping her trapped. Lena looked up with teary eyes. Can you fix her? Ryan sighed. Maybe, but not here. He pointed to the scanner screen showing red warning lines. Biosec will find this place any minute now. He pressed a switch, and the back wall of the lab opened to reveal a hidden passage. We have to move her, he said. Lena helped him lift her mother's body onto a small hover stretcher. The machine hummed softly as they pushed it down the passage. Rion led the way, the dim light from his wrist lamp guiding them. The passage opened into a large underground chamber. It looked like another lab, older, darker, full of broken pods and shattered glass. This was one of the first cure facilities, Rion said quietly, where they tested on people before shutting it all down. Lena shivered, holding her mother's hand. The walls were covered in faded warnings. Biosec property, level red zone. Rian connected Mara's stretcher to an old control station. He typed commands, the monitors flickering to life. Lines of data appeared, showing Mara's heartbeat, her brain signals, and strange code running through her cells. Lena leaned closer. What does it mean? Ryan frowned. It means the nanotech is rewriting her. She's becoming something new. He opened a file labeled Project Genesis. Inside were holograms of test subjects, men and women with glowing blue veins. Some looked human, others like machines, Ryan whispered. They called them prototypes. They wanted to make perfect soldiers who never got sick, never died, but every subject lost control. Until they shut the program down. Lena's voice trembled. My mom wasn't part of that. Ryan shook his head. No, but the vial you took came from that same experiment. She's carrying all their unfinished code inside her. He turned to Lena, his eyes serious. If she wakes up too early, she might not remember who she is. She might not even remember you. Lena's lips trembled. I don't care. I just want her back. Ryan nodded and inserted a small crystal chip into the console. This chip holds a reset code, he said. It might restore her memories before the machine part takes over. He took a deep breath. But if it fails, it could erase everything. Lena looked at her mother, tears shining in her eyes. Do it, she whispered. Ryan pressed the command. The machines around them roared to life, blue light flooding the room. Mara's body lifted slightly off the stretcher, her hair floating, her skin glowing. Lena shielded her eyes from the light. Ryan watched the monitor as the numbers jumped wildly. Her neural link is reacting, he said. Come on, Mara. Fight it. Then everything went silent. The lights flickered and Mara's eyes opened slowly, glowing bright blue. Mom? Lena whispered, stepping closer. Mara turned her head, looking at her daughter for a moment. Her face softened, her voice quiet. Lena. But then her expression changed. Her tone turned cold. Accessing target memory, she said in a robotic whisper. Ryan's heart sank. No. The machine side took over. Mara stood, her movement smooth but unnatural. Cables detached from her body as if she commanded them. She looked at Rion and Lena, her voice echoing. The cure must continue. Rion raised his weapon. Don't make me do this. Mara tilted her head. You cannot stop evolution. The room began to shake, machines sparking and bursting. Lena ran forward, grabbing her mother's hand. Please remember me.
It's me, Mom,
she cried. For a brief second, Mara froze, her glowing eyes flickering between blue and brown. Lena, she whispered, her voice breaking, then she screamed in pain. Falling to her knees, the lights exploded, and the entire chamber filled with smoke and sparks. When the air cleared, Mara was gone. Only the echo of her voice remained. Rian grabbed Lena, pulling her back. We have to leave now, Lena sobbed. Where did she go? Ryan looked at the broken control panel. She's not gone, he said softly. She's connected to the biosec network now, far above the city. A new signal blinked on the tower screens. It showed a glowing figure standing in the rain. And the system announced, Subject 47 has awakened. The escape. The old lab shook as explosions rumbled above. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the blue lights flickered like dying stars. Lena stood frozen, her heart racing, her ears ringing. Her mother was gone, vanished in the blast of light. Only the smell of burnt metal and static filled the air. Rion grabbed her arm. We have to move now, but my mom, Lena started. She's alive, Rian interrupted, but she's not herself anymore. Lena looked up, tears streaming down her face. I can't leave her, she whispered. Ryan knelt, his eyes full of regret. If we stay, we die, he said softly. And she wouldn't want that. He pulled her toward the back corridor as alarms blared. The sound of heavy boots echoed in the distance. Biosec soldiers were coming, their red lights glowing in the smoke. Ryan pressed a code on his wrist and a hidden wall slid open. Behind it was a dark maintenance tunnel leading deeper underground. This way, he said, pushing Lena inside. They ran through the narrow path, water dripping from broken pipes. Lena could still hear her mother's voice in her mind. It was faint, like a whisper carried by the wind. Run, Lena, run! She clutched her chest, trying not to cry. Her mother's warmth still lingered in her memory, and it hurt to think she might never feel it again. After a long silence, Ryan slowed down. He placed his hand on the cold tunnel wall. They're sealing exits above, he said. We'll be trapped soon. He turned on a small holographic map. It showed blinking red dots moving closer from all sides. They know where we are. Suddenly, a deep voice echoed from the end of the tunnel. Stop running. Ryan! Lena gasped as Commander Voss stepped from the shadows. His armor was cracked and burned from earlier fights, but his face carried a cruel smile. I told you this would happen, he said. Project Genesis cannot be stopped. Ryan raised his weapon, aiming at Voss. You turned the cure into a curse, he said bitterly. Voss laughed. A curse? No, it's perfection. He stepped closer, his voice cold and calm. That woman, Lena's mother, is the first successful hybrid. She's proof that humanity can evolve. Lena's hands trembled. You're lying. Voss looked down at her. Your mother is no longer sick. No longer weak. She's more than human now. Lena stepped back, shaking her head. She's my mom, not your experiment. Before Voss could reply, the tunnel lights flickered again. A sudden gust of wind swept through. Filled with static and blue light, the air around them began to hum. Then from the shadows behind Voss, a figure appeared. It was Mara, her eyes glowing like stars. Her hair moved in the air as if underwater. Her voice echoed through the tunnel. Let them go. Voss turned in shock. Subject 47, but he couldn't finish. Mara raised her hand and energy rippled through the air. His weapon melted in his grip. The walls bent like soft metal, and the soldiers behind him flew backward. Lena stared in awe and fear. Her mother looked powerful, but not human anymore. Mom, she whispered. Mara's eyes softened for a moment. Her voice was gentle. Lena, I'm sorry. Then her face hardened again. They'll never stop hunting you. You must go. She looked at Ryan. Take her to the surface, to the safe zone. Ryan nodded, but he hesitated. What about you? He asked. Mara smiled faintly. I'll hold them. Lena shook her head, crying, No, come with us. Mara cupped her daughter's face, her touch warm but electric. You are the reason I lived, she whispered. Now you must live for me. Tears rolled down Lena's cheeks as Rion pulled her back. The tunnel started to collapse. Mara turned, facing the oncoming soldiers. Blue light erupted around her like a storm. Rion carried Lena through the falling debris. The explosion behind them shook the ground. They burst into the open night under the broken sky of Neo-Asha. Lena looked back, her heart breaking. Through the dust, she saw a faint glow deep below. Her mother's light, still shining, still fighting. Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder. She's not gone, he said softly. She's buying us time, Lena nodded weakly, whispering, I'll come back for you, Mom. I promise. Far behind them, the biosec tower flickered red. A new signal appeared on the screen. Subject 47 active, it read, and Commander Voss's voice came through the static. Prepare the final containment unit. She won't escape again. The escape had begun, but the war was only just starting. The decision. The night air was cold and heavy with smoke. Lena and Rion stood on the edge of the ruined city. Behind them, the tunnels had collapsed into darkness. Blue light still flickered deep underground where Mara had fought. Lena stared at the broken ground, her hands trembling. She's still down there, she whispered. My mom's still fighting. Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder. Yes, he said softly. But every second she stays connected to the network, she becomes less human. Lena turned to him, eyes full of fear. Then we have to help her. Ryan shook his head. If we interfere now, we might destroy her completely. The two of them walked through the silent outskirts. The city was falling apart, buildings half burned, sirens echoing in the distance. Posters glowed on the walls, showing Mara's face with red text that read, Subject 47, terminate on sight. Lena clenched her fists. They're calling her a monster, Ryan sighed. That's what Biosec does. They turn victims into villains. They reached an old transport station hidden under layers of dust. Inside were rows of broken machines and a single working terminal. Ryan tapped it awake, showing a live feed of Biosec's control tower. On the screen, Mara stood in a containment field. Surrounded by guards, she was restrained by glowing energy bands. Her eyes dull but still faintly blue, Lena gasped. They caught her. Ryan nodded grimly. They'll try to extract the nanotech from her. Piece by piece, Lena's voice broke. We can't let them. Ryan hesitated, then opened a digital map. There's one way in, he said. Through the northern wall. It's unguarded for only 5 minutes during a shift change. He looked at her seriously. But if we go, we might not come back. Lena stared at the screen. Her reflection mixing with her mother's image, she whispered, Then I'll go alone. Ryan grabbed her arm. No, Lena. Listen to me. Your mother made her choice to keep you safe. If you die now, her sacrifice means nothing. Lena pulled away, shaking her head. She didn't give me life so I could run away. She gave it so I could finish what she started. Ryan saw the fire in her eyes. He knew he couldn't stop her, and deep down he didn't want to. He handed her a small silver device. This will block the tracking sensors for a few minutes, he said. And this, he added, giving her a vial of blue liquid. It's what's left of the original cure. Your mother's DNA is in it. Lena looked at the vial glowing softly in her palm. What will it do? She asked. Ryan replied quietly. It might bring her back, or it might destroy everything. As they prepared to move, a drone flew overhead, its red beam scanned the area. Ryan pulled Lena into the shadows, whispering, Stay quiet. The drone hovered for a moment, then drifted away. Lena looked at him, determination burning in her small face. When the shift change begins, I'll go, she said. Ryan nodded slowly. Then I'll cover you. Hours passed like slow lightning. When the clock hit the right moment, they moved. They crossed broken bridges, avoided patrol lights, and slipped past silent guards. The tower loomed above them like a giant made of glass and steel. Inside, through the high windows, Lena could see her mother, still trapped, still glowing faintly. They entered the building through a maintenance shaft. Ryan hacked the locks while Lena held the vial close to her chest. As they reached the main chamber, alarms suddenly rang. Unauthorized access detected, a robotic voice said. Ryan cursed under his breath. They know we're here. Lena ran ahead. Bursting into the chamber, her mother lifted her head weakly, eyes meeting hers. Lena. Mara whispered, her voice faint. Lena ran to her, tears in her eyes. I'm here, Mom. I'm going to save you. Mara shook her head slowly. You can't. They're controlling me. She looked toward the glowing core of the tower, where energy pulsed like a living heart. If you destroy that, the network dies. But so do I. Lena froze, her small hands shaking. Ryan ran in behind her. Lena, we have seconds. Decide now. Lena looked between her mother and the core. Her heart broke, her breath caught in her chest. Mara smiled softly. It's okay, my love, do what you must. Tears streamed down Lena's face as she whispered. I'm sorry. She raised the vial high, threw it at the glowing core the moment it shattered. The tower blazed with blue light. Energy rippled through every screen, every machine, every wire. Mara looked at her daughter one last time, whispering, I'm proud of you. The explosion consumed everything in white light. The decision had been made, and nothing in Neo Asha would ever be the same again. The end of the cure, the explosion lit up the entire city. Blue light tore through the clouds like lightning made of stars. Every tower in Neo Asha flickered. Every machine screamed. Then came silence, deep. Heavy, endless silence. Lena opened her eyes slowly. She was lying on the cold floor of the Biosec tower. Surrounded by smoke, her ears rang, her body hurt. But she was alive. Beside her, Ryan coughed, pushing himself up. You did it, he whispered. The walls around them were cracked and glowing. The great tower that once ruled the city was falling apart. Lena's hands shook as she looked toward the center of the chamber. The energy core was gone, melted into blue mist, and there, standing in the light, was her mother. Mara glowed brighter than ever, her eyes calm, her voice soft. You freed them, Lena, she said. Lena took a step forward. Mom, please, come with me. Mara smiled sadly. I can't. Not anymore. Her body flickered like a hologram. The nanotech inside her was unraveling, spreading into the air. The cure was no longer inside her, it was flowing out. Into the world, tiny particles of blue light drifted upward like dust. Through broken glass and open skies, they scattered across Neo Asha. People in the streets looked up, watching the glowing mist fall like rain. In the hospitals, the dying opened their eyes. Their wounds closed, their pain faded, but others began to change too. Some screamed as light spread under their skin, their bodies transforming. The cure was healing some and mutating others. Ryan watched the screens flicker around them. The nanotech is out of control, he said. It's rewriting everything. Lena looked at her mother, her voice breaking. Can't you stop it? Mara shook her head gently. No, Lena. It was never meant to be stopped. Her hand reached out, touching her daughter's cheek softly. This is the price of saving a broken world. The building groaned as explosions echoed from below. Ryan grabbed Lena's hand. We have to go. The tower won't hold. Lena clung to her mother's arm, tears streaming down her face. I don't want to leave you again. Mara smiled faintly, her voice soft as wind. You'll never lose me. I'll always be here. She placed her glowing hand on Lena's heart, and for a moment Lena saw flashes, memories, warmth, laughter, light. Her mother's love captured forever. Then Mara stepped back. Her body dissolved into a million fragments of blue light, each piece rising slowly into the sky. Lena reached out, whispering, Goodbye, Mom. The light drifted upward until nothing was left but silence and air. Ryan pulled her close as the tower collapsed around them. They ran through the falling debris, through smoke and fire. Outside, the city burned with beauty and chaos. Half of Neo Asha was healing, the other half transforming. Humans and machines mixed together in strange new forms. Some looked terrified, others looked reborn. As they reached the edge of the ruins, Lena turned to see the skyline. The once gray city was now painted blue, glowing with new life. The cure spread everywhere, Ryan said quietly. Lena nodded. It's what she wanted. Her voice trembled. She saved everyone. Even if it broke the world. In the distance, Biosec systems flickered and died. Their drones fell from the sky, their control lost. But Commander Voss still lived. He stood in the shadows of the ruins, watching the blue mist fall over his armor. His eyes glowed faintly. He smiled darkly, whispering, Evolution has begun. Lena felt the wind brush her face. Soft and warm, the air shimmered with faint blue light. She could almost hear her mother's voice again. Live, my little one. Live. She held the last empty vial in her hand, the one that had started everything. The label faded, but the glow inside it returned for one last moment. Ryan looked at her. What will you do now? Lena stared at the vial, her expression steady. "Finish what she started," she said quietly. Then she threw the vial into the wind. It shattered into 1,000 glowing pieces. Carried across the sky, the cure was free. The world was changing, and Neo Asha was no longer the same. The new dawn, the world had changed. Neo Asha was no longer the same city of steel and silence it once was. The sky was brighter now, painted with faint streaks of blue light that never faded. The air shimmered with energy, alive with the whispers of machines and dreams. The cure had spread everywhere, and nothing could stop it now. Years had passed since the night the tower fell. The old streets were covered with vines that glowed faintly in the dark. Half-human, half-machine creatures walked among people. Some had metal eyes, others had silver veins under their skin. But they all shared one thing, the spark that Mara had unleashed. At the edge of the new city, a small camp stood near the ruins of the old world. Children laughed around a fire, their voices echoing under a sky filled with glowing clouds. And there, sitting quietly beside a broken monument, was Lena, no longer a child but a young woman with calm eyes and a scar on her cheek. She held a small silver pendant, the last piece of her mother's old necklace. She looked toward the horizon. Where the blue light met the sun, her voice was soft, filled with both peace and sadness. "You did it, Mom. The world's alive again." Beside her, Ryan sat repairing a drone with his bare hands. He was older now, tired but smiling. "The world's alive, yes," he said, "but not healed." Lena nodded slowly. "There are still people afraid of the hybrids. Still those who want to control them." Ryan looked at her. "That's why you lead them," Lena smiled faintly. "I didn't ask to be a leader," Ryan replied. Neither did she. A soft wind blew across the camp. The leaves on the glowing trees whispered like voices. Lena closed her eyes, feeling that same warmth she used to feel as a child. Sometimes at night she could still hear her mother's voice. It came from the wind, from the light, from the hum of the machines, whispering, "You're not alone." Suddenly a small child ran toward her, holding a cracked tablet. "Lena, you need to see this," he shouted. On the screen was a red warning, biosec signal detected. Ryan stood up instantly, his expression darkening. "I thought the system died years ago," he said. Lena took the tablet, her eyes narrowing. No system stays dead forever. Far across the wastelands, an old tower flickered to life. Its lights burned red instead of blue. The voice of Commander Voss echoed faintly through static. "Version 2 of the cure is complete," he said. "Let the next evolution begin." Lena stared at the red signal on the horizon. For a long time she said nothing. Then she stood, slinging her pack over her shoulder. Ryan watched her quietly. "You're going after them, aren't you?" She nodded. Mom ended one war, but another just started. The camp gathered around her, young hybrids, survivors, and rebels. They looked at her with trust and hope. Lena raised her voice so all could hear. "My mother gave her life to free us," she said. She wanted a world where no one suffered for being different. She looked at the blue sky glowing above. "I won't let anyone take that away." The wind picked up, scattering the dust of the past. Lena turned toward the horizon where the sun met the blue mist. Her eyes glowed faintly, the same soft light her mother once carried. She whispered to herself, "I swear I'll never do it again, unless it's for love." Then she smiled and walked forward. Her people followed, their footsteps echoing like a promise through the ruins. The city behind them shimmered in the dawn light, half metal, half nature, alive in ways no one could have imagined from somewhere above. The faint hum of energy moved through the clouds. A soft voice whispered in the wind, "Live, my little one. The world is yours now." And as the sun rose over Neo Asha, the age of fear ended and the age of hope began.